that he had put her head on a shelf and screamed at it for an hour, threw darts at it, and ultimately smashed her face in. He also cut her tongue out and her larynx and put them in a garbage disposal.
Tell me in a sentence who you are.
I'm nobody. I'm a bum. I'm a boxcar and a jug of wine. And a straight razor if you get too close to me.
Do you ever feel violent?
Yes, I do.
What do you feel like doing?
Killing people.
You still feel like killing people?
Yes.
Describe the feeling that you get when you feel like killing people.
Well, last March 11th, I was hallucinating, and I took a razor blade and I cut a man's throat.
Here in the hospital?
Here in the hospital.
Do you think you'd murder me, Joe?
Yes.
That's gruesome, Joe. That's horrible.
Yes, it is.
And you don't blame me if I say I hope you never get out of this place.
I hope I never do either.
Welcome all you true crime lovers. Sit back, grab that blanket and hot beverage, and prepare for another Saturday night of The Murder Show. Whose mind and story will we dive into tonight? Now for your host, Tim, and alongside him, his co-host, Criminology, Chris, and Classroom Jackie.
There are some cases that stay with you, not because they're unsolved, but because of how long the truth stayed hidden. A quiet street, families living their lives, neighbors who waved and went about their day. Nothing unusual, nothing suspicious. And then there was that house. A house that looked like every other home on the block, but held a secret so dark no one could have imagined it. Because inside, for years, 3 young women who were being held captive. Hidden, silenced, forgotten by the world, but never by the man who kept them there. This isn't a story about a monster in the shadows. This is about a man who lived in plain sight, who blended in, who smiled, and who went unnoticed. Until one day, everything changed. A scream, a chance. A door finally opened. What was discovered inside that house would shock the entire country and expose a nightmare that had been happening right in front of everyone. Welcome to the Murder Podcast Show, as we present The Monster of Seymour Avenue, Ariel Castro and the House of Horrors.
Good evening, everybody, all you Murder Podcast Show fans. Welcome to another fabulous Saturday evening here. I am your host, Tim, and alongside of me, I have my co-host, Criminology, Chris.
Hello, everybody.
And alongside of Criminology, Chris is the director of all of our social media platforms, Classroom Jackie.
What's up, guys?
Welcome in, everybody. Video footage is a little sputtery tonight, but I think it's a YouTube thing, so can't do anything there about it. But that's all right. We hope everybody is had a good week and a good weekend so far. Our sponsors to start things out, per usual, is Crafty Corner, Laura, all handmade crochet items, jewelry, plushies, and more. You can check her out on Instagram at Crafty Corner by Laura and on Etsy. You can also email her at thecraftycornercrochet@gmail.com. And one of our favorites here, Dubby Energy Drink. If you head over to dubby.gg, when you purchase any of their products, be sure to use promo code MurderShow66 at checkout, and you'll receive 10% off. And of course, the Dochi Snacking Edible Cookie Dough in a jar. This stuff is amazing. We've tested it here before. You can either bake it on a sheet or you can eat it straight out of the jar. It's plant-based, gluten-free. And when you head over to Dochi Foods, that's DOICH foods.com. Once again, be sure to use the promo code MurderShow66 and you'll receive $5 off of your order. So yeah, let's, tonight we are going to be covering it's a case that is close to home for us, Ariel Castro in the House of Horrors. It happened probably about 50 minutes from here in good old Cleveland, the CLE. This was a crazy story. 3 girls that were held captive for over a decade in this house. And a lot went on, and we'll get into that tonight. And then they ended up being rescued. None of them were killed, thank God, but they all went through hell. And that's putting it, mildly. So first, we are going to, give me 1 second. Excuse me, I have a cough, and yeah, it's not exciting. So if my voice sounds a little rough here, don't mind me. We are going to shoot things over to Classroom Jackie so she can do her weekly 1 minute order. 1 minute order, wow. 1 minute murder for us.
Classroom Jackie's 1 minute of murder.
All right. So we have steadily been growing on all of our platforms. Our Instagram, we're still at 32, so a little bit up there. Our Facebook, we are at 111. We hit 131 on, actually 132 as of a few minutes ago on YouTube. And
Yeah.
1,225 on TikTok.
Yeah, we're continuously growing. Between the TikTok and on here, we're continuously growing multiples every day.
Yes, and we do have a Discord. We're still trying to figure out setting it up a little bit before we get everybody involved in that. We're working on that, so that'll be coming to you guys soon too.
Yeah, and for those of you that aren't familiar with that, Discord's pretty cool because it kind of brings like everybody in, murder podcast show, community together. And you guys can go in there. We'll break it up into different, channels and stuff so you can talk. We'll post each week what we're going to be doing, and then you can ask questions for the cast on the show and stuff like that. It's going to break it down, but ultimately it's just one big community for this show.
Or even if you want to call us out for getting something wrong, like you can, but we're going to be like, hey, thanks for that.
Sure.
We'll double check it.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But it's going to be a great opportunity for you guys to reach out to us, ask us questions, tell us how you feel about our cases, give us suggestions too. It's going to be really cool.
Alrighty, so to get things going here, hey, look, it broke it down. It even has my name.
Oh, fancy.
So there are certain crimes that don't just shock a city. See, I started correctly. Look at me. They redefine it. Crimes that make people question how something so horrific could happen, unnoticed, hidden in plain sight. This is one of those stories. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, working class city, tight-knit neighborhoods, the kind of place where people wave to each other. I don't want to wave too much. The camera will get attracted to me. And the kind of place where people wave from their porches and kids ride bikes up and down the street. And on Seymour Avenue, nothing looked out of place. Just a modest house, faded siding, an American flag hanging out front. But inside the house, there was something completely else going on. For nearly a decade, unimaginable horrors unfolded behind those walls. 3 young women were held captive and controlled, isolated, forgotten by the outside world, until one day, one of them found a way out.
This is the story of Ariel Castro, a man who lived a double life. A school bus driver, a neighbor, a familiar face in the community, and at the same time, a captor. A man who turned his home into a prison. This is also the story of survival, of Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina DeJesus. 3 women who endured years of captivity and lived to tell the story.
So to understand what happened inside that house, we have to start with the man behind it all. Castro was born on July 10th, 1960 in Puerto Rico. Later, he moved to Cleveland, where he built what appeared to be a normal life. He had children. He held steady work for years. He was employed as a school bus driver for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. He even played bass guitar. Neighbors remember music coming from the house, backyard barbecues, and laughter, loudly going on. From the outside, nothing seemed strange.
But behind that normal exterior, there were warning signs. Castro had a history of domestic violence. His ex-wife reported repeated abuse, beatings so severe they caused serious injuries. Police were called to the home multiple times. Reports were filed. But like so many cases, it never escalated in a way that stopped him. And while those around him saw pieces of his temper, no one knew what he was capable of.
August 23rd, 2002, 21-year-old Michelle Knight disappears. At the time, Michelle's life was complicated. She had been in and out of foster care system. She was trying to regain custody of her young son. On the day that she vanished, she was on her way to a court hearing. She never made it.
Because that day, she crossed paths with Ariel Castro. Castro approached her and offered a ride. It seemed like a simple act of kindness. But the moment she entered that house on Seymour Avenue, everything changed. She was lured inside, and the door closed behind her, locked.
Michelle would later describe what happened next in chilling details. She immediately was restrained, beaten, isolated. That house, what looked like to be ordinary home, was transformed into a prison. Doors reinforced, windows covered, chains and locks installed. Michelle Knight became the first captive and for a time the only one. So what he had done first, and I have a video clip 2 interview that Michelle Knight did, was he had tricked her. She was trying to get directions because her mom was running late to pick her up to take her to court so she could have a court, hearing, because she was almost about to get her son back. And her mom was late and she's like, just forget it. I'm just going to walk. So she's trying to walk, but she can't figure out where the courthouse is. So she stops at a convenience store. Ariel was inside and asked for directions. And he's like, I'm not really sure. He goes, but I'll just give you a ride, And she's kind of him-hawing about it, like, I don't know. And he goes, oh, come on. Well, when she gets in the truck, he then goes, tell you what, your son, what would be really nice is your son might like a puppy. And he's like, let's go to my house. My dog just had puppies. And she's like,
See, and that's the thing that, like, you're supposed to be going to court to get your kid back. Well, I understand the like parental, like, oh, it would be a really nice gift to have for my son when I have him back, to have a puppy for him. But shouldn't you go to court first and then go get the puppy?
I think she just wanted her son back so bad. She was just thinking of, Ariel, he mentioned it in a way like that would make her son happy and really be, happy to be back with his mom. Like if she had a gift, almost like trying to buy love type thing, like here's this puppy,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. But in 2002, things were a little bit different too, as well, as far as that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he takes her to the house and takes her up to the room and says, this is where the puppies are. And then takes her up in this room. And then she's like, well, where are the puppies? And he shuts the door. And then he's got like this sliding bolt lock, The way she described this is he had 2 chains from one end of the room to a different end of the room. He actually held her up in this chain, suspended her in the air for like days. And she was just hanging there for days, like literally pissing herself, and it was going everywhere. And I can't imagine being suspended like that,
Yeah.
It's just wild. Anyways, go ahead.
April 21st, 2003, 16-year-old Amanda Berry disappears. She had just finished her shift at Burger King. She had called her sister and said that she was on her way home. That call would be the last time her family heard from her for nearly a decade.
Ariel Castro found her walking home just like before. He used familiarity. Well, sure, it sounds right. Don't honk that horn. Friendliness and deception. He offered her for a ride, and once again the door closed.
Now there were 2 victims inside the house. 2 young women completely cut off from the outside world. They were kept in separate rooms, controlled, monitored, punished for any attempt at resistance.
So now, April 2nd, 2004, 14-year-old Gina,
DeJesus
DeJesus disappears. She was walking home from school. This time, Castro used a different tactic. He knew her. He was the father of a girl she was friends with. The familiarity lowered her guard.
And just like that, she vanished. 3 victims, all inside the same house, and within a span of less than 2 years.
What happened inside the house over the next decade is difficult to fully comprehend. The women were kept in isolation for long periods of time, restrained and chained. The environment was controlled down to the smallest detail. When they could eat, when they could move, and when they could speak.
And yet, even in the darkness, they found ways to survive. They formed bonds with each other. They communicated when they could. They supported one another in ways that would later become critical to their survival.
So years passed, outside families searched, posters faded, hope began to slip. But inside that house, they were still there, waiting.
As time went on, the cases of the missing girls grew cold. Investigators followed leads, tips came in, but nothing led to Seymour Avenue. The house was never searched, despite being right there in a residential neighborhood. I remember reading in their autobiography, the one that Amanda Berry and Gina wrote together, that Castro would actually tease her, Amanda, about her missing pictures. He would bring her up to the TV to see, look, they're talking about you.
Yeah.
He'll throw the newspapers at her. He'd be like, oh, I talked to your mom today. I told her I would help find you. I went and helped and participate in your searches.
Yep.
He would just the cruelty of doing that, being like, yeah, I'm participating in these things and you're in my house.
Yeah. He
awful.
Gina, they had a what do you call it?
A candlelight
vigilante
thing. Yeah,
or whatever.
a candlelight vigil.
For her, and he went up and her mom was crying and he hugged her mom, and because he knew her and her, family, and then he came back to the house and he's like, look it, and he's laughing. He's like, your mom.
And he's on the front page of the paper with her. He also took flyers and he was putting flyers around town, even though he knew where she was.
Yeah.
How could you do
that? Now I have a video. So Michelle Knight did a interview thing here, and I will share this with you. It kind of describes a couple of these details here. Give me 1 second here. So she describes when, Michelle Knight was his first victim, when he got her in the home and where he led her to. So here's the clip now.
Yes, but that's where he first took you.
And that's where he took a pole and another pole straight across, and then a line that tied me up like a fish right there on the wall. And when I was untied, my arms, my legs, I couldn't walk. And he drags me down, takes me back out the door, drags me down these stairs like that. My head is like hitting the stairs, and then drags me this way. And
how did he drag you? By your feet?
Yeah.
You spent your first few weeks and months down in the basement. Can you describe what that was like? How did he kept you there? What it looked like?
It was filthy, stank. There was nothing but dirty clothes, rats running all over the place, big, filthy chains.
So yeah, that that kind of gives you a little bit of a description on talking about the change there. And it's just crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh my God. And then dragging her down by her feet and her head hitting each step is just friggin' wild. So, anyways, I believe it's back to my turn, huh? Neighbors later said that they noticed strange things. Windows always covered, limited movement, but nothing that pointed clearly enough to what really was happening inside. And that's what makes this case just crazy. I mean, this whole story is very, very sickening. It was hidden in the middle of, nowhere. It was hidden in plain sight.
After nearly 10 years in captivity, something began to change. Small opportunities, moments where control slipped just enough. And one of those moments would change everything. You know what that moment was?
What's that?
Amanda Berry was pregnant and had Ariel Castro's daughter. He stopped unchaining her and letting her have more freedom in the kitchen, the dining room, set up a classroom type thing for her to teach their daughter things.
Yeah. And at first, Michelle Knight was pregnant. And he's like, no, I don't want a kid coming out looking like you. We must take care of this now. And he hands her this like 75-pound weight, like the hand weights. Or doesn't hand it to her. He picks it up from the corner of the room and just hits her in the stomach real hard with it. And later that night when she was crying and laying in bed, she started bleeding.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God. And then he ends up having a kid with, Amanda Berry, like you just said, a girl. And when she was going through pregnancy, she was due and he had Michelle Knight deliver the baby. And it was just in a kiddie pool in like the living room, not even filled with water. And the baby wasn't breathing at first, but Michelle Knight.
And he threatened her.
Yeah, he was like threatening her. He held the gun to her and he's like, make my baby breathe, blah, blah, blah. And she did. She got her to come to, breathe. But it just, And later on throughout the years, the schooling in the house, and Amanda Berry kind of became like the head of the household per se, because Gina and, Michelle were still, victims upstairs.
Right. But she still managed to get them a little bit of leniency because of the position she was in.
Yeah.
But also he would take Jocelyn out and say that it was his niece or things like that. He wouldn't introduce her as his daughter.
Yeah. And when the girls had to go outside, when he'd want them, to go outside and do different things in the backyard, he'd have them wear wigs and stuff.
Wigs and like different costumes. Yeah.
Different costumes. Yeah. And the one time Michelle Knight was out back and the old guy, he was living next door. He came out and he wanted Michelle to hold some wood because he was boarding up the house while he was cutting it. And he's like, hold that. And she's like looking like, help. And she went back in and she's like, she told, Gina? She's like, it's okay. He's going to call the police. Everything's fine. And the police never came because I think that guy looked and he probably was just like, even if he thought anything was going on, he's probably like, I ain't getting involved in this,
Right.
Because the guy looked like he was pretty old. So, for nearly a decade, control inside that house was...
You forgot that on May 6, 2013, after years of captivity, Amanda Berry saw a chance.
Yeah.
And this time she took it.
Well, I wanted you to read that part. It's part of a, we're coming towards the end of March test. Oh, and you got it. No horn was honked and you got it.
There you go.
Wait, have you realized we've made it this far without one?
Pretty good.
Let's not bring it up, but a little late for that.
I knocked it.
For nearly a decade, control inside that house was absolute. Every movement monitored, every action dictated. Control, no matter how tight, can slip. And on May 6, 2013, it did.
That day started like many others, but something was different. Ariel Castro had left the house, and this time, he didn't secure it the way he normally did. A small mistake, one that would change everything.
Inside the house, Amanda Berry noticed a door that wasn't fully locked, a chance that hadn't existed. And after nearly 10 years, she made a decision.
Amanda began trying to force the door open, pushing, pulling, kicking. It didn't budge at first, but she didn't stop. That horn scares me.
Eventually, the door cracked. I have high anxiety right now with that horn. Not fully open, just enough to let light in, enough to let in air, and enough to reach out.
On the other side of that door was the outside world. A world she hadn't seen in nearly a decade. Neighbors, cars, life moving on as if nothing had ever happened.
Amanda Berry began to scream, loud, relentless, and desperate. Help me. I've been kidnapped. My name is Amanda Berry.
At first, nothing. Then someone heard her. A man walking nearby stopped. That man was Charles Ramsey.
Ramsey later said he heard screaming coming from the house. Not normal shouting, something different, something urgent. Don't honk that horn.
Not an argument.
Don't honk the horn.
He approached the door and saw Amanda, panicked, desperate, holding a small child. She told him she had been kidnapped, that she had been inside for years.
At first, even that was hard to process. Don't honk it. Years inside that house, it sounded impossible.
But the fear in her voice was real. And Ramsey didn't hesitate. He helped her break the door open. And in that moment, Amanda Berry stepped outside for the first time since 2003.
Once outside, Amanda did something she hadn't been able to do in nearly 10 years. She called for help.
Her 911 call would become one of the most chilling and emotional recordings in modern true crime history. Her voice, urgent, overwhelmed, disbelieving, trying to explain the unexplainable.
Oh. She told operator, I'm Amanda Berry. I've been missing for 10 years. Think about that if you're a dispatcher and you're getting that call.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For 10 years.
They didn't believe her. The dispatcher did not believe her. I believe she said, is this a prank?
Well, and I found that call too, and I'll play it here in a minute. But yeah, I mean, think about it. If you've been missing for 10 years or more and you're randomly getting this call, I'm not saying I would think it was a prank too, but I would be like, huh?
What?
Like, what?
Yeah.
Because somebody missing for that long, it's rare that you hear of them being found not dead.
And making the call themselves.
Call themselves,
right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, think about that 10 years and now suddenly she was back.
Police arrived quickly. What they found inside the house was beyond anything they expected.
Inside were two women, Michelle Knight and Gina De Jesus, alive after all those years.
They were escorted out of the house, out of the darkness they had been trapped in for nearly a decade. Neighbors watched in shock. Families were notified, and within hours, the story spread across the country.
But there was another detail, one that made the case even more complex, okay? Amanda Berry had a young daughter that we just stated a little bit ago, a child born during captivity.
That little girl had spent her entire life inside that house. She had never known the outside world, never walked freely outside, never experienced a normal childhood.
And yet, she walked right out that door alongside of her mother. Like, that's crazy. Into a world that for her was completely new.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't remember how old the daughter was when they were found, but to think, I mean, she was probably, I mean, we can figure that out, but she was talking and walking and she was decently taller, so I would imagine she's probably, I don't know, at least 6 or 7, somewhere in there, but we'll find that out. But
She was 6.
so 6. I mean, to be living 6 years of your life in that house and, like you said, told to tell people that was his niece, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be like that. And there's a movie that what was it? Lifetime did in 2015.
Yeah.
And I watched it this past week, and I know some of the details are different and stuff.
Some of the stuff in there is a little exaggerated.
Yeah.
If you want to do really good, like a really good dive into this and some of the hand accounts, read Amanda Berry and Gina DeJesus' autobiography.
Yeah.
I read that in 2 days. There is a map of the blueprint that is drawn by them in there, and they mark where things are.
Yeah.
It is a really good read, and it's heartbreaking, but it shows their survival in there and their strength and where they got that from.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't even, it just the way that he had his ways with every, woman, and with, Michelle Knight for the first, what was it? She was in there, I think they said, for like 9 months before Amanda Berry came in. 9 months, and it was just like Castro, whenever he wanted, he'd come home and, rape her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd want to like hold her when he was done. But it was like that multiple times a day, just constantly, like he'd just come barging in the room or down in the basement, rape them, leave, go do. And he would put this motorcycle, helmet on them. And, I have some of the crime scene photos found, and they took a picture of that too. He would put it on her. He'd have her chained up. I don't know, those bars that are in the basements that hold up the floor. I don't remember.
Foundation bars?
Yeah. He would have her bound, zip tied, and chained to that with the motorcycle thing on. And then when he would go to feed her, he'd lift the lid on it.
It was for deprivation.
Shove some food in and then put a rag back in and then shut it again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
so
like, it's like, what in the world? I mean, just the things that he that he put them through.
Do you want to play the 911 call before we move on to his arrest?
Yeah.
Because it would kind of make more sense for that.
Yes, I can do that.
But this case you said that you weren't that far from it when that happened, were you?
I was right around the corner. Yeah, I actually, I worked up in Steel Yard at the time, and we couldn't believe it. I mean, everybody up there was just baffled. I mean, it like time stood still, like people were coming out of their houses and things. And,
yeah, you texted me.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, news spread fast.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing that sitting at work, just sitting at my desk, and I was like, man, I'm like, that's like less than a half a mile away in the neighborhood right behind me.
Yeah. That's wild.
And I've driven up and down through there like so many times, it's amazing. And for people that live in that neighborhood to have driven up and down the street and walked by that house and looked at it and just, kind of makes you feel real weird about what's going on in your own.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
Here's the call for that.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I read your book. The story is so heartbreaking. I think it's so hard to hear about everything that you went through. Was it hard to write?
It was hard to tell it, yes. It was hard to write it. There was times that I just wanted to not do it at all.
Between 2002,
it's just kind of like a quick call with it, but
it's wild though. We'll get to you as soon as we get a car available.
Yeah, right.
She's begging. She's like, he's going to come back. We need a car before he comes back.
Are you kidding me? Like, oh, I'm sorry. Got other guys that are tied up with like noise violations and shit.
Yeah.
We don't have time for that.
Yeah, they're probably currently busy getting something to eat,
That same day, Ariel Castro was located and arrested. The man who had kept 3 women captive for nearly a decade was finally in custody.
Along with him and his brothers were initially detained as well, though they were later cleared of any type of, involvement with it. All attention turned to Ariel, of course, and what exactly had been happening inside that house.
As investigators searched the home on Seymour Avenue, the reality began to unfold. Chains, locks, reinforced doors, rooms designed to isolate and control.
This wasn't impulsive. It wasn't temporary. It was deliberate. Oh God, not the horn. Sustained. Haha. A system of captivity that lasted nearly 10 years.
Cleveland was stunned. How had this gone unnoticed? How had 3 missing women been inside that house the entire time?
Of course, media, flooded that whole,
This
area
case
there.
ended up going international.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sure the world knew about this, definitely. Neighbors were interviewed, questions were asked that didn't have answers.
Because the truth is, sometimes evil doesn't stand out. Sometimes it blends in, lives next door, waves from the porch, and keeps its secret behind closed doors.
For the families, it was something almost impossible to process. Daughters they believed were gone, suddenly alive.
And yes, he did have a couple of brothers.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, like they said, of course they were cleared. They didn't have any type of involvement, which is crazy. What's crazy with this too is that we stated in the beginning that he played bass, and he jammed with some friends, and they would come to the house and jam in the living room while Michelle Knight was locked upstairs, and she would try to make noise. And when family would come over to his house, she would be upstairs in the bed, chained up, trying to beat the headboard and to hit it up against the wall. And his one family member, I don't remember who, but she's like, "What's that?" And he's like, nothing. And he would just keep turning the music up so they wouldn't hear her up there trying to hit the headboard up against the wall.
Yeah, and he had 2 brothers, Pedro and I'm not even going to try and pronounce his other brother's name.
Yeah,
But
we're
he
not
had
trying to
2.
get the horn.
They also said, I believe Michelle Knight said that when he would have those jam sessions, he would threaten them if they made any kind of noise, it would be the end. So Gina DeJesus and Amanda Berry stuck to that and were afraid, and Michelle Knight was the one who was like, "Nope, I'm gonna just try and get my ass out of here."
Yeah, because it was like a revolver 6-shot pistol that he had that he would threaten them with. At least that's what they showed in the crime scene photos. And he would ultimately hold it up to their head, and that's what he would threaten them with. Now, whether or not he was ever going to use it, I don't know. I think it was just a scare tactic, but I don't know, because he would he would state a lot, at least in the movie that I saw and stuff, he would state a lot that that's all he wanted. He was tired of being alone in the house and, no one there with him. So when they would have their so-called family dinners that he would gather them all around, he's like, "See, this is what I've always wanted," and he would make them celebrate their abduction day, I read, by getting them cake. Every year when their dates came up, he would have them celebrate it with cake. Like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Oh, it's you now.
No, it's you.
Oh.
Do you want me to go on?
Damn it. But survival was only the beginning, because what came next?
You skipped 2 whole parts.
Oh my, we're falling apart.
Honk it.
You're at reunion.
Listen. Okay? I don't need anybody's stories, okay? So.
There.
No, I'm good. Media flooded the area. Neighbors were interviewed and questions were asked that didn't have any answers.
I already did, but the truth
Oh,
is...
crap. Unsafe snuff. Snuggie is putting the eyeballs up there. You know what?
I got this, Tim. I got this. Ready?
unsafe. Whose side are you on
It was
here?
going so well.
For the families, it was something almost impossible to process. Daughters they believed were gone, suddenly alive. Unions followed. Emotional, overwhelming, long awaited. Years of grief turning into relief in a single moment. Now it's your turn.
Oh, great. But survival was only the beginning, okay? Because what came next was understanding what had been done.
As the investigation deepened, more details emerged. Details that were difficult to hear, difficult to comprehend.
And as the world learned more, one question remained. Who was Ariel Castro? Really? And how had he gotten away with it for so long? The monster of Seymour Avenue.
The episode.
That's great. I don't care. Listen, I'm the architect. I'll do what I want. Okay? Once the victims were safely out of the house, the full scale of investigation had begun. And almost immediately it became clear this wasn't just a kidnapping case. This was something far more prolonged, far more calculated.
Investigators began documenting everything inside the home. Every lock, every chain, every room that had been modified. The house itself became evidence, a physical record of nearly 10 years of captivity.
What they found told a story of control, of planning, of routine. This wasn't chaos. It wasn't structure. A system designed to keep 3 people hidden indefinitely.
As details emerged, prosecutors began building their case against Ariel Castro. The charges were staggering. Hundreds of counts, kidnapping, assault, repeated acts of violence. Each charge representing a moment in time, a piece of a much larger nightmare.
The number itself was almost difficult to process, because behind every count was a lived experience, a day, a moment, a memory that someone had to carry.
As the case unfolded, question turned towards Castro himself. Who does this? How does someone maintain a double life like this for so long?
On the outside, he was familiar. He worked, socialized, blended in, but inside that house, he controlled everything. Absolute authority.
Experts would later describe patterns of control, manipulation, and long-term domination. Not impulsive violence, but sustained, intentional captivity.
So in July of 2013, Castro accepted a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty.
In exchange, he received a sentence that ensured he would never leave prison alive. Life in prison, plus an additional 1,000 years.
A number that sounded symbolic but carries weight because it reflects the scale of what was done, the years taken, the lives interrupted.
During sentencing, Castro addressed the court, and what he said was unsettling.
I just, this whole thing, I remember talking back when you were saying that you remember when they were found. I kind of remember that day because I don't remember how old I would have been, but I don't remember what I did 2 days ago. But I remember kind of when they were taken because at the time, my dad had actually owned, rental homes down that way.
Yeah.
And one of the homes actually wasn't far from that Burger King where one of the girls was getting off work.
Yeah.
Because we used to go to that, Burger King to get lunch when we would be down there as kids helping my dad work on these homes. And it's like, holy crap. Like we've been to that Burger King multiple times, because my dad had homes on the east and the west side there. So the whole story is just, boggling. It's the amount of shit that they went through when they were in that home. I can't even fathom, and I know Amanda Berry now, she's doing good and she's on one of our news stations here and she finds missing kids.
Yeah, she puts not just missing kids, adults as well. She works with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and Adults.
Yeah.
And brings that focus to somebody in the area
Yeah.
who is missing to try and hopefully find them again.
Yeah. And I know Gina, she kind of just keeps to herself and doesn't really want a whole lot to do with it now.
Which is fine. Please,
And then
if
Michelle
this
Knight.
is your healing, go.
Yeah, Michelle Knight has like a animal rescue, or
And
is
change
it?
her name.
And yeah, changed her name, which probably for reasons I could get. But yeah, so it's and I don't know. I'm assuming Amanda's daughter's doing well too now and stuff, because she's probably, that was what, in
13, she was
yeah.
6.
So, but
So
just
she turned 16.
What's
19.
What's got to be crazy, and I read it somewhere, is think about her daughter and how, and Amanda, anytime Amanda looks at her daughter, she's got to see some of Castro in her, the looks and stuff. That's something that you got to see forever. That's what's crazy, even though was in prison, and we'll get to what happened to him here in a little bit, but she's got to see him in her daughter all the time.
And that shit never leaves you.
No.
I mean, regardless of whether or not they even created a child. I mean,
yeah.
That never leaves you. And I remember too when all that went down and they found them in that house, like it stirred up the media something crazy. But it was funny too, because like, if you notice, like a whole lot of things took off again. Like people started looking for people. And there were more searches conducted, and people started opening up files and things on missing persons that they hadn't looked into for years.
Cold cases came back to get looked into and reinvested.
Like it became a big deal. Like people were banding together and hunting for people and looking in sewers and things and places, and I mean all over. England. It was wild.
And the word is reinvestigated.
Yeah, because if you go, because it almost brings a little bit of light, like, well, maybe there's,
holy shit, maybe it's in a house down the street.
Yeah, maybe, other people we've been looking for and have been missing for 5, 10, 15 years.
Right.
Maybe they're still alive. So kind of maybe brings a little bit of hope and light to these people. Like, wait a minute, if those 3 were found after a decade, who knows? Because some of them places, Cleveland, I like sometimes I don't go down there that much, but like if I go to like a sports game or something, it's been years now, you'll see missing signs all on the light posts and stuff downtown. It's almost really depressing, because you'll see a bunch of them you'll see a whole wall of these missing people. And it's just like, oh my God, some of these people, when you see how long they've been missing, like, been missing since 2000 or 2001. And it's like, crap, man. Yeah. So he had attempted to, minimize what he had done. Of course, he's going to try to pull that. At times, he referred to the situation as something less than what it was, something almost consensual.
But the reality was clear, and the court did not accept his version of events.
The judge handed down a sentence, life without the possibility of parole plus 1,000 years.
It was definitive, final, a legal acknowledgement of the magnitude of the crimes.
Just 1 month into his sentence in September 2013, Ariel Castro was found dead in his prison cell.
His death was ruled a suicide, which I still don't. He was on suicide watch. They took away his clothes. They took away his bedding. They took away his sheets. How?
So I remember they had, interviewed, and they were supposed to be doing watch on him, and the guards were supposed to be walking around. I forget the time. I want to say it was like, is it every 15 or 30 minutes or something like that? And the last guard to see him said that he did his walk. And then the next time he went around. Now, I don't know. I don't work in a prison. Nothing against COs and that kind of stuff, but I know a lot of people wanted him dead. And I often wonder, it brings a question in my mind of, did he really do that round or that walk? I don't know. I'm not saying the guy didn't. So if the guy ends up listening to this, nothing against him. I'm not saying he did anything wrong or whatever. I don't know that job.
Right.
But it just brings question to mind. I remember a lot of people at the time did question that, like, oh, I bet he didn't do his round. He didn't do his walk. But like you said, suicide watch, he wasn't supposed to have any sheets, and that's what he hung himself in the cell with was
He
the
wasn't supposed
sheets.
to have a sheet. He wasn't supposed to have anything with cords on him.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be very basic. Like they'll give you a pair of pants or maybe boxers. I don't know. I've never been in jail. I never plan on being in jail. I don't know anyone who's ever
Yeah.
been on suicide watch. I don't know the details of what
Yeah.
exactly is.
Well,
But there are certain things that people say they do not get when they're on those. And sheets are one of them.
yeah, because that's one thing. Well, David said in there too that he knew a security guard who worked at the prison downtown. He said that when Castro was brought in, all the prisoners wanted to get their hands on him.
They did.
Which, yeah, I can believe that. You held 3 children pretty much. I mean, Michelle was 19, but still, that's young. Yeah, Amanda and Gina were
Amanda
like
was 16, Gina was 14.
14. Oh, yeah, everybody's going to want to get their hands on him. Even if he would have made it out of suicide watch, he would have been in some sort of maximum security where he would have never been in, what do they call
Gen
that?
Pop.
Gen Pop, yeah. There's no way.
No, he wouldn't have survived.
Unless they wanted him dead, then they would have been like, all right, throw him out in Gen Pop. Everybody turn around, and don't watch.
That'd be like a pinata, man.
Oh,
People
my
would
gosh.
go after him. It's funny how much morality there actually is in prison, because a lot of these guys, I mean, they still have daughters, they have
Yeah.
kids. When you do something like that, yeah, you're a target.
It's usually who they say are the biggest, targets are, pedophiles and people that hurt kids and stuff, or people that rape women and kill women and stuff. They're usually the biggest ones that, prisoners want to get, which I don't disagree with them.
Yeah.
I mean, so
It's like an ethics thing.
yeah, yeah.
In
Which is wild. Yeah, like you said, which is wild because you got guys that are in there. You even got guys that have killed people that are in there, and they still are against these other kinds of killers. And it's like,
you're in there for victimizing people, and you're judging other people that
Yeah.
victimize people. But yeah, it's a different crime.
yeah, true, very true. So, and just like that, the man at the center of it all was gone.
But for the survivors, the story didn't end there, because survival is not the same as healing.
Michelle Knight was the first taken, and in many ways, the one who endured the, longest.
Her story is one of resilience under extreme conditions. She later spoke about the strength it took to survive, day after day, without knowing if she would ever leave.
After her rescue, she rebuilt her life, she found her voice, and she chose to tell her story on her terms.
Amanda Berry became the face of the escape. Her voice on that 911 call is something people still remember.
But beyond that moment, she became an advocate. Don't use a
Good
horn.
job.
A voice for missing persons, a reminder that even long-term cases can still have hope. So that's just like what we were talking about.
Gina DeJesus was just 14 when she was taken, a child.
Her recovery, like others, has been deeply personal, a process of rebuilding, rediscovering life outside of trauma. Yes, Cake Maker 2024. That's true. Even convicts have codes.
Yeah, they do.
Very true. Very
They
true.
do.
One of the most powerful aspects of this story is the bond between the survivors.
In, sorry, my damn voice. Isolation, they found connection. Darkness, they found support.
That connection played a role in their survival and in their ability to move forward.
The house on Seymour, the place where all of this happened, was eventually demolished.
Taken down as part of a plea agreement, removed from the neighborhood.
But what happened there cannot be erased. Don't honk it.
Cleveland changed after this case. Awareness increased. Questions were asked. Michelle Knight was actually at the demolition of that house. She released balloons during it.
Was she?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It's a park
Chris,
now.
you said
Sorry.
look at him. That's what I'm doing that for.
Oh no.
You said that it's a memorial park now?
Yeah, I believe it's a small park that they created up there.
Yeah. Sometime it'd be neat to kind of go down there and take some pictures or something.
Yeah.
You know, maybe post them up on
You
one of
guys are
the
welcome to. I'm not going to Cleveland.
pages or something. Okay. How do we recognize, warning sounds? How do we protect? Not even doing that work because I'll get the horn. And how do we make sure something
Protect the
like
vulnerable.
Yep, not doing it. How do we make sure something like this doesn't happen again?
Survival stories are often told as endings, but in reality, they're beginning. And you said the wrong one. It's supposed to be warning signs, not warning sounds. You didn't get the horn.
I don't know. Because after survival comes healing. And healing is not simple. It's not quick. It's ongoing.
This story is difficult because it forces us to confront something uncomfortable.
That evil doesn't always look the way we expect. It doesn't always hide in the shadows. Hey, Honda Shadow. Sometimes it lives next door. Sorry, I had to.
But this is also a story of strength, of resilience, of 3 women who endured the unthinkable and still found a way forward.
And maybe that's what stays with us, the most. Not just what happened inside that house, but what happened after they walked out of it. And this story is, it's definitely, it's wild. And I didn't realize a lot of the things that happened inside of there until I really started to look into it. And then when I watched that,
Well, you said you
movie,
have pictures. We should show
yeah.
them.
So I have
Especially if you're not familiar with this case.
Yes, definitely. So I'll share. These are crime scene evidence that they showed at the trial. They're going to be a little bit smaller here, but that's okay. They'll come up here on your screen. The first one is one of the bedrooms, and I believe it was the bedroom where Michelle and Gina were in a lot. I know Michelle was in this room a lot. This is actually the room, if I remember correctly, I believe where when he found out Michelle was pregnant, that he used that weight on her, I think. And then the same one where she was hitting the headboard up against the wall.
Hey, hit the slider and make it a little bit bigger.
Anything.
There you go.
Yeah, looks like they just cleared the property. Maybe there is nothing there. I think it might just be a spot of land.
There's another bedroom footage there. Picture. So there's the first one. It'll come to you guys here in just a minute. It takes a minute. But there's another room there. And then here we have the outside of the house that you can see. That'll come up next. That I think is because there was 2 rooms up there. Amanda or not Amanda.
I think that room was Amanda and Jocelyn's room.
Okay. So there's the outside of the house right there. There's Ariel himself in court. It'll come up next here.
And look at him praying.
Yeah. Like he's praying like as if everything he's just perfect, there he is right there. And there's 2 side-by-side pictures. That might have been Amanda and her
Amanda
daughters
and Jocelyn's
with all the dolls and stuff. And then the chains on the left-hand picture there of what he would use to chain them in the basement and wherever else.
But after Amanda had Jocelyn, he didn't really chain her up anymore.
No.
Because she had to be able to take care of the baby.
So those are just some crime scene pictures there. But yeah, I don't know. We talked about it a few times in here. He had everything like down to a science that he wanted to do, from the windows boarded, the doors locked. And even when he left the front door open, the outside screen door, they could only barely get the bottom of it open. And one of the, neighbors across the street had to like bust the bottom of the screen door out because he had it multiple locked. But how he how he forgot. He must have had something else on his mind, because he never forgot to lock that
What if he
place
was
up.
just tired? What if he was just
Could have
like,
been.
I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And instead of letting them go, he just drove away.
Yeah. Something. But anyways, this was one that we wanted to, cover, because we've been covering a couple of the cases that are close to home here for us. And Discord, when we get it up and running, that's another good spot where if anybody has any cases that kind of close to home for them too, you can post them in there and we can kind of look into them. Definitely.
We just ask for no personal cases.
Yeah. No
please.
personal cases.
Not yet.
Do you have the wheel? Did you want to spin it for next week?
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're going to spin the wheel. Normally we do this off air, off live, but we're going to spin the wheel here, and we'll let you know who we're going to cover next week. We've got our wheel, and we input a lot of them into, and we're already episode 12 now in season 2 here, which is crazy. We're getting closer and closer.
All right. We can either do the Cleveland Torso Killer or Wade Wilson, the smiley face guy with the weird face tattoos. The one that every woman out there thinks is like incredible, and I think he's ugly.
Wade Wilson is a trip.
Do we want to do Wade Wilson?
Wade Wilson is a trip. See, look at Criminology Chris. He's already got that look on it.
Interesting fella.
He's an interesting fella. Let's do Wade Wilson.
We're going to do Wade Wilson next week, guys.
So we're going to cover Wade Wilson. Well, once again, though, thanks everybody for listening in. We do appreciate it. We appreciate everybody helping our little community grow. Every little bit helps. Every share, like, follow, subscribe that you do, it does matter. I know everybody hears that on social media all the time, but it's true. It helps. The more subs we get, we're constantly going up a couple of subscribers on here every day, because our videos are actually circulating out there, and that's what gets it going, and you guys, helping us for sure. So, on that note, we hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend, what's left of it, and has a wonderful week next week. And other than that, we will see you guys next week here to cover Mr. Wade Wilson.
You want to take it away tonight?
No, I'm not doing that. Unsafe already knows I did that on the phone one time with her, so I'm not doing it. That's your job. Other than that, I'm going to send it over to Classroom Jackie to take us out of here for the weekend, guys.
Same crime time, same crime place.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.